Okay, good morning, Year 6. It's Thursday, the 25th of February, and today we are moving on to our second story of the week. And this week, as you can see from the images on the slide here, the story is called Umbrella. Okay, let's have a little read then. So you should have the text in front of you because it was sent to you yesterday evening, and that'd be good if you could follow along with me. Okay, here we go. It was a cloudy night. The darkness covered the city like a thick blanket. The wind blew gusts of air smelling of car fumes through the streets. It sneaked under the cracks of doors and whispered down sooty chimneys. Mr. Bell hurried down a dark street, holding on to his bowler hat so that the harsh breeze couldn't steal it. The wind blew harder, almost blowing the short, stout man off course. Eyes narrowed, Mr. Bell tried again to walk into the path of the determined gale. A hazy drizzle of misty rain drifted down in sheets, making him shiver and cough. Cursing the cold, he drew his coat tighter around his large figure. As he made to clamp his hat to his head again, he spotted something black and flapping on the pavement. An umbrella. His heart leapt. The umbrella would be perfect. Feeling pleased with himself, Mr. Bell ran towards it and snatched it up. The handle was smooth and glossy, and the waterproof dome was black and very large. As Mr. Bell raised it above his head, something remarkable happened. He began to feel lighter as he ran over the cobbled street, holding tight. Lighter and lighter. With a gasp, he realized that his leather shoes were no longer making contact with the pavement. He was flying. The wind lifted him up like hundreds of hands, all pushing upwards. With a delighted and shocked shout, Mr. Bell gazed down at the sprawling city below him. The street lamps looked like beautiful, luminous flowers reaching up to him. Cars reminded him of jewel-coloured beetles crawling through the concrete maze. The wind led him towards the park. It was the only splash of green in a grey ocean of buildings and roads. Clutching the umbrella tightly, he drifted towards two bronze statues of lions guarding the park entrance. Mr. Bell outstretched his free hand and reached towards one. As he passed, he patted it on its cold head. The lion roared deeply and shook its impressive mane, whilst watching the small man float past. Wide-eyed, Mr. Bell swung himself away. The umbrella swayed dangerously, and he grasped the handle harder. He waited dizzily for the world to stop spinning. Still the wind carried him on. He glanced back at the now still statues. The trees swayed in time with the umbrella as he drifted higher again. A white barn owl flew past Mr. Bell like a winged ghost. As he rose, he scanned the sprawling city for his house. There. He gently coaxed the umbrella down towards his street. The wind rushed down, and with a bump, Mr. Bell landed outside his house. He looked around to check that nobody had noticed him disembarking before making his way up the garden path. The promise of light and warmth beckoned him inside. As he stood on the front porch, he folded the umbrella up and smiled as he thought about what an exciting bedtime story his daughters would have that night. Okay, so that's a really good story there about this magical umbrella that certainly made Mr. Bell's journey home a lot easier in that stormy night. So, focusing more on a fantasy genre there, you might start thinking what other stories that might remind you of things that you may have read before, or even films you might have seen with people being able to fly with certain objects. Now what I've done is numbered each paragraph, and as you can see from the activity that we have sent you, you today are going to be plotting the characters' feelings on this emotion graph. So today your objective is, can I infer how a character feels at different points of a story? So here is the graph that you have been sent, and I'm going to show you how to do this with just the first 2 or 3 points today, and then you will continue by yourself with the others. So just like in maths, I've put along this axis of my emotion graph the key points in the text. So these are the paragraphs. And then I've put the word negative going up to positive. Now, negative mood might be anything to do with sadness, anger, fear, frustration, any of those words. And I've put some helpful words on your sheet as well. Positive words might have anything to do with happiness, excitedness, and so on, as the examples that you see on your sheet. So if we go back to our text and we look at number 1, we're going to plot number 1 now. If we read paragraph 1, this is a setting of the scene paragraph. It was a cloudy night, it's dark, but that darkness covered the city like a thick blanket. The wind blew gusts, the smells of car fumes in the streets, and these fumes are sneaking under the cracks. The wind is sneaking under the cracks of doors and whispering down sooty chimneys. It's setting the scene in quite a gloomy way. So I'm going to put this down here, and then what I'm going to do is next to my point, I am going to annotate why I have placed it there. And I am going to keep my writing quite small and quite neat and organised today so that I can get everything quite clearly on my graph. So here it's, if I write a gloomy night, harsh wind. Okay. So that was quite a straightforward annotation there. Obviously it will get more detailed as we go along. So number 2, Mr. Bell hurried down the street. He's holding onto his bowler hat, so the harsh breeze couldn't steal it. The wind is blowing harder. It nearly knocks him over. We've got this phrase here, he curses the cold, drawing his coat tighter around him. So here, I actually might change my mind as to where I've put this one. And I might just move my number 1 there. And if I just draw a little line, this will help to keep everything neat and organised. I'm going to put number 2 right down the bottom because he's having a really miserable time in that windy, horrible weather. So let me just write here, he's cursing the cold. He hates this weather. So there is number 2. Now things start to change for him now, because at number 3, just at the end of number 2, he's found an umbrella. So this is how he reacts. His heart leapt. The umbrella would be perfect. He's feeling pleased with himself. So he runs towards it and he snatches it up. So this umbrella has immediately changed his mood and it's picked him up a little bit. So let's take number 3 and let's think, okay, well, it's got to be better than the gloomy, harsh night. So it's certainly higher up on our graph. I think we'll go about here. And now we have to say why we've put that there. We have to annotate. And this is your task 1 and your task 2 combined. This is what I'm doing. I'm combining both of them. So point 3, so that's, he found the umbrella. This is just what he needs. Maybe he's feeling relieved because he won't get drenched in the rain. There we go. So now what we could do now is if you need to draw any lines to each of your points, then do that. Ever so sorry, that's my cat meowing at me, everyone. He's gone away now, that's fine. Then the final thing that I'd like you to do, wherever you decide to plot your point, so I'm just making this up now, wherever, I might pretend that's gone up there, and so on. Well, I haven't referred to the text, so that's me completely making that up. What I'd then like you to do is join your points up. So I'm going to do this with a red line so it really stands out. So I'm going from my 1 down to my 2, to 3, 4, and so on. 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and 7 to 8. And that has made my emotion graph for this story. Now, of course, I haven't accurately placed these points, and this might not really be telling me the story of the man in the book. I'm not sure it will be that shape when you finish yours. And also I haven't finished my annotations, but this is how I would like you to complete your activity today. And we really look forward to seeing your emotion graphs today. It's something that we haven't done in a very long time, so it'd be really good to see what you come up with. So good luck with that, Year 6, and I'll speak with you again tomorrow.